Hi, this is James Cross, and this is the first video tutorial that I am making for the IT 145 found in-app development class. And this is the Zybooks lab activities, and this is the week 1, module 1. So we are doing the 1.16 basic, and just so you know how we got here, let's just leave here. And if you go to Zybooks, we're at the introduction section here, first week, and we're down here doing 1.16 basic output with variables using Java. Okay, so let's get started on this. Like I said, we're doing the 1.16 basic output with Java with variables lab. And let me go down here and clear out what I've already put in and work through this with you guys so that you can see how we complete this lab. Okay, so essentially they want us to break this down into 3 steps, with our first output looking like that, second output looking like that, and finally when we finish it, our final output looking like that. So when we go down here and look at the code, you can see on step 1 they want the output to say enter integer with the variable entered, and then you entered that variable. So if you come down here, you can see that they've already created a print line statement to say enter integer, and then they've created the input statement to take that response, to take that user input. So the first part of this first step they've already completed. So this part is already completed. All we need to do is add this to the code here, and we've completed the step 1 of this lab. So let's get down here and do that real quick. And you will see that we're going to say the same thing here, system.out print line. And so for those of you who don't want to wait days and days for me to finish typing, because I type really slow, I'm just going to use the copy and paste. And the next thing we're going to do is put the parentheses here, and let me just do it like they're doing it and put it right up against the print line statement. So okay, so we have the parentheses, and what we are going to say is you entered. So let's just copy this and put that down here. Now this is the string, so you remember anytime we have a string we have to enclose it with double quotes, and so let's put our double quotes. And as you can see here, they have a space after the colon, and when I went through this the first time I forgot to add some spaces in a few places. And so if you guys have gone through this and had errors, some of those might likely be that you missed the space somewhere. It's giving you errors if you don't have the blank spaces in the right spot. This is one of the blank spaces they're looking for. So after the colon, make sure you have the blank space, and then close it with the double quotes, the parentheses. And every statement in Java is going to have that semicolon, so don't forget your semicolon. So this print line statement right here is the all you need to finish this right here. So well, take that back. What we need to do is add the variable. So sorry about that, I forgot this part. So we have the you entered. Now we just got to concatenate the number. So let's put the plus sign to concatenate, and then the variable is user num. So we're going to say plus user num. Okay, so now we have the string you entered and then the variable user num, and so that completes this portion of the, step one here. You entered, and then that's the number they entered. All right, so we go down, let's go down here and start step number 2. All they want us to do is add these 2 lines here. 4 squared is 16 and 4 cubed is 64. The 4 is actually not what they want. They want this to be the variable. So just, we're not putting the literal number 4 there. So we're using the variable. So when they come down here, if they print 5, it'll show up there 5, whatever. So this is the variable, and that's important because we're not making a string for the number 4. So let's go down here and make the next statement. So what they're saying is this is what they want as the output, and for purposes of saving time, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that print line. Okay, and then what we're going to put here is they want this variable, so we're going to put user num, and then we're going to concatenate that, and then we're going to put the string squared is. So let's just go ahead and copy this. Squared is, copy. Now again, we need to make sure we put our space here, because if we don't put a space here, the variable and the squared will be butting up against each other. And again, here on the other side, we need to make sure we have this space, and so let's put another space there. Let me highlight it. Let me put another space there. Put the double quotes, and so now we have spaces on both sides. And then let's get up here to the right one. So squared is, so we have the squared is. Now we're going to concatenate the formula here. So we're going to say plus, and we know from simple math that squared is the same number times itself. So we're going to say user num times user num. We're going to close out the formula, and then we're going to close out the entire print line statement, and then we're going to add our semicolon. And so here we have system.out print line user number, that's the variable, squared is, that takes care of this squared is, that's the string, literal string. We have our spaces on both sides. Then we concatenate the formula. So that number squared is that number times itself. So user num times user num. And then we just put our semicolon to finish out that statement. So the next thing in this is and 4 cubed, or your number cubed is your number cubed, with 2 exclamation points. So again, I'm just going to copy. So let's do that. Copy, paste. Now I'm going to start the input here, or the output, and they're starting it with a literal string and. So let's go ahead and put our double quotes and put the word and. Let's make sure we put our space so it's not butting up against the next variable. And then we're going to concatenate with the plus sign. And then we're going to say user num. So we have this portion over here done. We have the literal string and. We now have our user num. Now we're going to concatenate this string right here. So let's do that. We're going to put that in double quotes. We're going to put a space. Again, we don't want that number here button up against cubed is. We're going to put another space and close out this string by putting the second double quotes. we're going to concatenate, because now we're adding the user num, but in this case we're cubing it. And so up here we squared it, and again I'm just gonna cheat and get some of this already done that's already been done. We're gonna put that here, and then all we have to do is add one more multiplication, and we have completed the cube. So we all know that a number times itself 3 times this cube, so user num times user num times user num. All right, now they have the exclamation points at the end, and it looks like there is no space there. So when we concatenate this, so let's concatenate it. We're going to put our double quotes for the little literal string. We're going to put the exclamation points. We're not using any spaces this time because we, as it shows up here, we want those exclamation points butting up against the answer. Okay, and then finally we put the parentheses, and that's closing out this one over here. So we've closed out the entire statement. We'll put our semicolon, and that finishes it. And that, my friends, is finishing this statement right there. So now we move on to the next section here, part 3. So we've already got this completed. So we have to add these 3 lines, but we also have to add a input line because we're asking for another input. So what I'm going to do is save a little time. I'm going to copy this. Like I said, we know we have 3 more input lines here, output lines. So I'm just going to paste this 3 more times, and this is when you wish you were working on Sublime. You could do that all at one time, but let's begin here. Okay, so first part of this is enter another integer. So again, here we're going to start out with a literal string, and what they want is us to ask the user to input this information. So we're going to just copy what they have. We're going to put our space. You can see there's a space there, so we're going to put our space, and then we're going to close it out. Okay, so enter another integer and space, and close out the entire statement with the parentheses, and then put our semicolon to finish it. Okay, now because we're asking for user input, we have to scan that in. So it's the same as this one up here. So we're just going to copy that. We're going to move it down here, and we're going to put it there. Now, here's the difference. In this part 3, they're asking for user num2. So let's go up here and establish this variable. I'll just call it what they want, user num2. So user num2 equals 0, and then put our semicolon to finish it. And then let's just go down here and change this to say user num2. So now we're asking for a second number, and we're calling that second number user num2. And here we're going to input the information. So now we have completed everything we need to do for that. So let's move on to this line right here, which is basically saying your first user num plus user num2 is 9. Okay, so let's put our parentheses here to start this. And so what did we just say? We said your first user num, so we're going to say user num, and we're going to say concatenate. And what are we concatenating? We're concatenating the plus sign. Okay, so concatenate, put our double quotes for the string, put our space so it's not running up against the number, put the plus sign, put another space so it's not buttoned up against the second number, and then close it out with the double quotes. So now you've concatenated the plus sign, and now we're going to concatenate the second number, user num2. So we're going to say concatenate plus user num2, and now we have that portion of the statement. Now they want us to add the string is, so we're going to concatenate once again. Wrong button. Okay, concatenate again, and they want the word is. So again, when we create this string, we want to create a space so it's not running up against the word is, and we're going to create a space on the other side so it's not running up against the answer. All right, and then now we're going to concatenate the answer. So we've already done all this part of the statement. The 4 plus 5 is, and now we just have to create the answer. And so the answer of 4 plus 5, or user num plus user num2. So we're just going to say user num plus user num 2. And then we're going to close out that, and then we're going to close out the entire statement with the second parentheses. That's closing out the entire statement. And then we're going to add the semicolon to finish this statement. So now we have everything we need to complete this line right here. 4 plus 5 is 9. All right, now let's move on to the next one. And again, because I'm trying to speed this up, I'm just going to copy this because a lot of the information is the same. Put it down here and just change what we need to change. So in this instance, they're saying 4 times 5, so this is not a plus sign no longer. This is a multiplication sign, so we'll change that. So this user num times user num 2, okay? And then they said is, so that's the same, is. And all we're doing here is we're going to just change this from a plus to a multiplication, and that's going to create the answer of user num times user num 2 going there. So after doing that, that does everything. So we're going to use the same inputs, 4 and 5. You can see they used 4 for the first integer, 5 here for the second integer. We're going to use the same integers that they have, and we're going to run this, and hopefully we get that answer. So let's try it out. Okay, and as you can see here, this is equal to that. Now I've already submitted mine, so for you guys, you'll hit the submit button, and well, I'll just do it again and see what it says here. Okay, yeah, all right, so hit submit for grading. And as you can see, submission pass all tests, total score 5 out of 5. So that's what you're looking for, and that's it. That's lab activity 1.16.1. I'd like to thank everybody that's watched this video. Please do me the favor of subscribing, and if you have any questions or comments, put them in there or email me. I'm going to add my emails to this video so that you can email directly either to my personal or my SNHU email address. And thank you for watching, and as we go along through this course, I'll continue making videos showing how to solve these problems. So again, thank you for watching, and please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.